Well, now, we hear a lot about the miracle of birth, but we think there's something more than a little miraculous about this one. You see, the experts told Peter Dixon that he would never have children, but he proved them wrong in the most incredible way. Dean Cassidy explains.
This is a 23-year story in the making, and today's the day to see how we go.
When I see her, she's exactly how I imagined she would be.
Do you get upset because you think you could have almost missed that opportunity? Yeah.
Just think, imagine if I'd never met her. Terrible.
Baby Renee Dixon is 23 years in the making.
When we found out we were just overjoyed. Yeah, I get even teary thinking about it now, but it was a really, really happy moment that marked the end of a long struggle for us.
A struggle that started when Peter Dixon was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 27.
I just remember coming home and I think you just feel like the carpet's just been whipped from under you, and I remember looking outside and just thinking, wow, this could be it.
If the diagnosis wasn't difficult enough, Peter was advised the radiation treatment would probably leave him infertile. The only way he might ever become a dad was to freeze sperm. So that's what he did.
I always really wanted to have children, so when I did find out I was infertile, I felt relieved that I had sperm put aside.
Peter's samples would sit at the University of New South Wales for 20 years.
Every couple of years I'd call up and say, you know, it's still there. But I did get a call one day from them saying, oh, look, it's been 10 years now, you're probably never going to use it, we're just going to discard it, is that okay?
But in 2009, Peter met Barbara, and they realised the only way they could have biological children was to use the frozen sperm. It seemed simple, but it was a gamble most doctors weren't willing to take.
Well, they said they absolutely cannot be used, that they just had Peter's last name. They didn't say Peter's last name, they said they just had Dixon written on them. So to them, they weren't even convinced it was Peter's sperm. And they were stored at the university, so they weren't stored correctly for a long time.
The storage containers had Dixon scratched onto the side. It was faded, and doctors at the IVF clinic weren't convinced it was even Peter's.
We had moments where we're standing face to face in a consulting room, and I'm saying, I won't be bullied. No matter how difficult it was, we can't do IVF ourselves. So we need a clinic and we need a doctor to do it with us.
This is certainly the longest that we've got on our records here at IVF Australia.
Dr Frank Quinn, Clinical Director at IVF Australia, was a last resort for the couple, who'd even had the DNA test to prove the samples were Peter's.
The problem that they had was the sperm was frozen 23 years ago. Now obviously the techniques of freezing sperm back then are completely different to what they are today, and there was some concerns about the validity.
But 2 years later, the results spoke for themselves when Barbara gave birth to a beautiful and healthy baby girl.
Here's little Barb Renee in my arms, 4 days old. Life doesn't get better than this.
There's no doubt that you're Peter's baby, is there? Do you look just like your daddy?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Still tired.
And here's the back over here, looking good, and there's the heart beating. We'll try and hear the heartbeat just a moment.
With baby number 2 now on the way, the Dixons say their 23-year fight to become parents was worth the emotional roller coaster.
She's a little happy maker every day.
What a beautiful story. Dean Cassidy with that report, and best wishes to Peter and Barbara for the birth of their second child. Well, now, we hear a lot about the miracle of birth, but we think there's something more than a little miraculous about this one. You see, the experts told Peter Dixon that he would never have children, but he proved them wrong in the most incredible way. Dean Cassidy explains.
This is a 23-year story in the making, and today's the day to see how we go.